It's the end of the honey season. Got all my honey extracted, and just on my annual cleanup of the handy dandy Maxant 20 frame extractor. And somebody contacted me, because this subject comes up from time to time, about how do you bolt your extractor to the floor, and then people say no, put it on a mobile base. And somebody saw an old post I had on Bsource from about 2010 and asked me if it was worth that, if it was worth doing, and how I set it up. And the answer is yes. How it works is that I took a 3/4 inch piece of 3/4 inch 48 by 96 plywood, and I cut it in half and glued it together to make it a bit more substantial. And so from that corner to that corner is 48 inches. And then to make it a bit easier to move around, I triangled the back off and had it resting on this stud. It's just tipped up right now while it's draining. Which brings me to how the extractor is fitted to the base. Initially I put it on and I got these little bolts with wing nuts on. But over the years I've lost the wing nuts, and it doesn't really matter, because when it's moving around, the weight of the thing keeps it onto the base. Then in front of each leg I've got 4 bolts holding on a caster. The caster is 3 inches. And what happens is when the extractor is working, it rocks back and forth a little bit if the load is uneven. If the load is even, it barely moves. And then when you're done, you can just wheel the thing away, out of the way. The other thing I did was, if I had to do it differently, what would I do different? If I was doing it again, what I noticed is the legs on this thing, these legs are about 14 and a half, where is it now, from there to there? About 14 and a half, 15 inches off the base, whatever base you put it on. And the bucket's about the same. And so if I was doing it, and it goes up a little bit there, but if I was doing it again, what I'd do is I'd raise up this, either the leg here by 1 inch or so, and I keep meaning to do this every year and never get round to it, or cut out a gap in the base so that the bucket could actually sit a bit lower down. Then when I come to the end of the extraction run and tip it up, it's easier to tip as it stands, because when you tip it, the height of the bucket is higher than the height of the bottom of the extractor. I have it teetering on the edge, and I come precariously close to dropping it. Now if it was a bit higher off the base, then I could slide the bucket back further underneath and it'd be a bit more stable. Also, one more thing I was thinking was, I'm always short of deep frames, and I use Manlake black plastic frames, and they can slip in the extractor a little bit. And then when I'm working with for supers, for my mediums, since I started with those, I've bought wooden mediums, and I alternate in the extractor. I put a wooden one and a plastic one and a wooden one and a plastic one in these different detents, I think you call those, so they don't rock as much. But when it comes down to the deep frames, I'd like to get more deep frames and use them once as honey frames, and then put them into the brood comb the next year. But extracting those is a bit of a pain, because the Manlake 4.9 frames, it just seems to hang onto the honey in the deep frames. So what I thought was, well, maybe I'd get a radial. And I thought to myself, that's a bit much, going ahead and buying a whole other extractor just not try radial, a tangential, to do tangential extraction. So what I did was I went online and searched, and I found these bagel baskets. Slanted bagel basket, 11 inches by 18.5 inches. And they're made out of stainless or something. And so then, because I'm hopeless mechanically, I got my wife to use the Dremel tool and cut the edge out. And then when I put the bagel basket in here, I've got 3 of them. It's quite easy to fit the black frame just down like that, and then you can extract it tangentially and then spin it around and extract it again. So there you go, that's about it. So on the whole, very happy with the Maxant 20 frame extractor, and very happy with this mobile base. Now time for the cleanup.